Hello everybody, it's Bubba Rob. How's it going? Good, I hope. It's a fantastic, beautiful day. You can see a little bit of the tree behind me as I'm sitting at the park bench here. Anyways, you know, what do I want to talk about today? Actually, I want to talk about ethics. And it's kind of interesting how I got thinking about it as I met a new friend in the coffee shop and we are talking about ethics and investing. I know she'll be watching this. Anyways, which doesn't really exist anymore. That depends on who you are. It depends if you decide to, invest in things that you believe is, meets your ethical standards. But that kind of got me thinking more of a broader range of what it actually means. And I started doing the old thing. It's like, oh, what's the difference between ethics and morals? Well, morals, if I understanding it correctly in short form, is basically based off of personal or cultural standards, say religious standards. But ethics is based off of a set of rules, which is either right or wrong or something that you live by. That's very, how would I say it? What am I trying to say? It's really giving you a sense of what is right and what is wrong. And it's not based on opinions, on facts. That's the way I understand it, anyways. And that's one of the reasons I love studying about Stoicism, is because it really speaks to me that way, because it sets everything out with a guideline. And it's not asking you to seek someone else for moral guidance or an entity. It's asking you within yourself what is ethically correct on how you wish to do your life, right? Yeah, it's kind of a perplexing thing, because we really get the two issues overlapped more up between morality and ethics. It's not quite the same. I believe if you're morally correct, that's pretty much because you're passing judgment on another and what you're saying, because you believe in something that what they're doing is wrong. It's because you just don't think it's right morally, but ethically, it may not fit the criteria right. It's a little bit the same, but it's quite a bit different. And the other reason why I was thinking about it today, I was thinking about my own ethics and morality. And one thing that came up with a conversation I was in yesterday, and I made a statement. I won't say to who, but you should never say you're going to do something and not do it, or have no intentions of doing it. Ethically, that's just really wrong, and it's actually extremely disappointing. I know myself in life, that is one of my biggest triggers, right? When I make a deal with somebody, I shake hands, I make a social contract, and that person has no intentions to actually fulfill their promise to me, their social contract to me. So what is the remedy for that? Well, the simple remedy is Whoever's making that social contract with you, they should just say nothing. That's right. You should just say nothing. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, who's going to believe you if whatever you say you don't act on? It's just a bunch of fluff, right? The worst thing you can do is tell people what they just want to hear just to get through the day because it's easier for you. That's not good. You know, I know in my life I've said some things that have been, very blunt, but I believe them to be honest and say what I say. I have to work on, really thinking about what I say sometimes and how I say it to people. And I've come to the realizations, well, you know what? Sometimes it's just to say nothing. Does that go against, say, my ethical standard if there's something wrong and I don't say nothing? No, I don't believe so. Sometimes you're best off just to walk away, right? But anyways, getting back to people say stuff and they have no intentions. It's funny, I don't want to get political here, but geez, you sure hear a lot of it in politicians, right? Holy cow, there's so many that are so full of shit. Especially the ones with the orange tinge on their skin. I don't know. I don't know how you can believe in somebody or, let me ask you a question. If somebody repeatedly tells you something and they have no intentions of fulfilling it, how does that make you feel, and where is your respect level for that person? It's not going to be there. It's just not. It's gonna affect your trust. All sorts of things. It's not a good way. So hopefully this all makes sense. I hope I don't trigger anybody. But I just really want people to think a little bit about what you're putting out there to other people so that you can become a better person. And just be honest and do what you say you're gonna do. Or you just don't say it. I told my kids a long time ago, they're adults now. I said, if you say you're gonna do something, you do it. And if you can't do it, you gotta have the balls to say no. And the reason is, you don't want to be that person looking over your shoulder, right? You don't want to be that person. You're always doing one of these and one of those. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. And all that does is cause stress, anxiety. You know what? It's going to affect your mental and physical health and spiritual health. There's, right? You know, you know, going to give confession to somewhere isn't going to change the fact that you're full of shit, right? It's just my opinion. Maybe you need to be forgiven for things, but you know what? You don't go out and do it in the first place. What have you got to be forgive for? So really think about it. Think about your actions and what you do and how you affect people, right? That's some ethics, right? Get your shit together and really think about what you're doing out there, okay? Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Remember, the most important thing in this life, to be a good person, good stoic, good Christian, whatever you are, good biker, musician, is to be kind. Be kind to yourself first, right? Pass it on. Open the door for somebody, okay? Thank you so much. Love you all. Bye-bye.